Today we're going to talk about what IT support costs. This is not a video talking about how to pick an IT vendor. This is just strictly talking about how contracts are developed and how we get to what an IT support contract costs. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the building blocks. So what are the foundations that these contracts are typically based on? And you're usually looking at users, workstations, and servers is how the most IT vendors price their services. So you'll have a user cost, which could be anywhere between $50 to $200 and up based on a national average. Workstations around the same if they're using a strictly user or workstation-based pricing model, or you could have a hybrid service where people are offering a price per user and then also per workstation or server. So what makes the pricing different, right? So we're talking about a range of $50 to over $200 per person. So the biggest three components that have to do with that price are, number one is the stack. So what is included in that price? So if you go to get a fence priced for your home, right, you may get a price that's $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to get a new fence. So we know the first thing is the materials of the fence, right? You could get a wire fence, a cedar fence, a PVC fence, a 4-foot fence, a 6-foot fence, a 9-foot fence. So the materials, so what is the material of the fence? It's the same thing in the IT support industry. So what makes up the components of the stack? What are the cybersecurity features you're getting? Are you getting a SOC service? Are you getting a SentinelOne? Are you just getting a regular antivirus product? Are you getting a service that's going to provide you cybersecurity awareness training, or are you not getting these things? So all those things can help make up the price. The second thing is kind of simple, is geography, right? So obviously IT support in San Francisco or in New York City may be different than rural parts of the Midwest. And the third thing is reputation. So I'm not saying that a vendor that's charging you $200 is better than a vendor that's charging you $50. What I'm saying is typically the vendors that get higher in price or that you may be referred to may be better than a vendor that you don't know or is at a lower cost. So you want to look at industry reputation. So if you're in a specific industry, there are certain IT vendors that may be better suited to help you in the industry. And obviously, if one of your friends or trusted advisors has referred you to this company, you already have a reputation for them, and we all have the built-in ability now to view their online reputation, to look at their Google reviews and other places where you may be able to judge their reputation to be helping you. So the next thing that makes up the contracts is cloud subscriptions, right? So you may have Google subscriptions, Microsoft 365 subscriptions, and for the most part, the pricing on these subscriptions is going to be pretty much the same across most vendors. You're not going to see a big variability. There's nobody that's going to offer you some deal where you can get Office 365 subscriptions for half of what somebody else is selling them for. So this is just purely almost a pass-through cost. There's not going to be too much variability from one vendor to another. And the next thing is cloud infrastructure. So do you have cloud servers running in AWS or Azure or wherever you may have some cloud infrastructure? You may have one server, two servers, 20, 30, 50, or zero. So it may not matter to you at all. And there isn't a ton of pricing difference when it comes to the actual consumption costs of these servers, but there is a vast different way that you can configure cloud infrastructure. So when one company may spin up one server, another company may spin up 3 to do the same thing, and there's going to be cost differences between how those two different environments operate. So there's a big difference in how companies configure things, and then obviously there's a cost difference to those. So when you move from one vendor to another, you may see that the cost may either go up or go down based on how they do things and maybe some new technology that's out there. The next thing is backup. So, in the old days, you used to have workstation server backups. We still have those, and that price can be anywhere for workstations for maybe $15 to $30 a month to back up a whole workstation with, let's say, a terabyte of data, and then on the server side maybe it's $50 to $125 a month to just do a pure offsite backup. And your backup conversation is usually framed around risk. So are you just looking for an offsite backup that you may have to get a new device, get it installed, and restore the backup that could take a day, 48 hours, a week or something to get new hardware and get that data put back? Or are you looking for something that is a standby image that you can spin up almost instantaneously and get your people back to work? Those costs for those types of systems are going to be, 3 to 10x what we just talked about for just your standard offsite backup solutions. And then your cloud infrastructure. So even if you're in the cloud, you want to make sure that you're backing up those cloud resources, your cloud servers, your cloud users on 365 with their files, their email, even their Teams messages. The great news is that just backing up users on the cloud is much less expensive than backing up entire workstations and servers. Typically, you're looking at less than what they say, a cup of coffee or $5 a month a user to back up all their kind of user data from a cloud to a different cloud in the event that there's some sort of issue or that you just want to retain the data for a long period of time. And then the next thing is labor. So the labor component of every IT contract may vary a little bit. So what people include. So do they include if you need to set up a new computer? Do they include if they have to go on site? Do they include all your help desk support? So you want to definitely look at these details because that will be where there may be a big difference in price, is what's included in a contract and what isn't. So you want to make sure that you truly understand what the differences in those two pricing models are. And then the last thing is just other things or other considerations. There's vCISO, vCIO, compliance services, support for specialized software that you may have in your business that all may be add-on considerations for your IT support contract. So you want to, all these things are customized and the price could be, who knows what it may be. But you want to make sure that if you're moving from one vendor to another, that you understand the differences if you're not going to be getting something or if you're looking for some additional service. So all these things are the different ways that IT support contracts are priced. And I always tell people, obviously this video is not about how you choose one, but make sure you're always choosing an IT vendor that you trust.